All right, so those of you guys that watched the video from Tuesday, you guys know we started dealing with slope, the different kinds of slope, how to find the slope, vertical change over horizontal change. We're going to start looking at some different types of forms of slope and the equations and different ways to write them. Okay, you guys know we were looking at some functions. Ways to look at functions, guys, are equations, or it's just another way to write them. We're going to look specifically at linear equations. All right, so we're going to look at two types of forms today, guys, for slope and equations, or specifically linear equations. The first one is slope-intercept form. You guys may be familiar with that, should be familiar with it. It's y equals mx plus b. Okay? Now, remember, you guys have dealt with this before. M, we talked about it on Tuesday. M, the letter represents, that is your slope. Okay? And then B, that is your y-intercept. Now, remember slope, that is your vertical. I'll try to spell it right. Over your horizontal change. So that's just how much it changes vertically up and down compared to how much it changes horizontally, which is left to right. Okay? Now, you guys also should know or remember, guys, your y-intercept, that's just where the graph crosses the y-axis. Okay? So you know your y-axis is the one that travels up and down. So it is just where basically it crosses that y-axis. Okay? It could be up at the top in the positive section. It could be below in the negative section. Okay? Now, we're going to be given some information. We're going to be given the slope. We're going to be given the y-intercept. And we're just going to take those values and write an equation in slope-intercept form. Okay? So here, if you're looking at number one, guys, we have a slope, it's 2. We have a y-intercept, it's 2. We know that's going to be y equals, and we're simply just substituting these in. Okay? So m comes next in the equation form, the slope-intercept form. M is my slope. It tells me what my slope is. So that's going to be 2x. Looking at the next value, that's the y-intercept. B is my y-intercept, so we're just simply going to substitute into that. So that's y equals 2x minus 1. It's minus 1 because it's a negative 1. If you wanted to put plus a negative 1, you could do that. But I think it's just a little more simple to put the minus the 1. Okay? All right, let's look at number 2. We've got the slope equals negative 3/5. Y-intercept is 4. Simply all we're doing is just substituting values in for the slope and the y-intercept. So we have y equals, my slope is negative 3/5. Pretty simple. My y-intercept is 4. So it's simply just plus 4. And add my, negative 3/5 x. Okay? Because that would be, if we were looking at functions, that x would be where we would substitute our domain in 4. Okay? All right, and then 3, it would be y equals, slope is negative 3, so that would be negative 3x. Y-intercept is 2, so simply plus 2. All right, so now we're going to look at standard form, which is ax, okay, plus by, and that's going to equal c. Okay, now you'll understand standard form a little bit more when we move into polynomials in a couple weeks and monomials. why it's A and why it's B. Those are really just your first term, second term. Okay? But as we're going to put these into linear equations, you guys will see where they fit into slope-intercept form. Okay? So what we're looking at here, guys, given the equations in standard form, you must convert them to slope-intercept form. Okay? So as we're looking here, guys, you got 2x plus y equals 3x. Thinking back about 3 weeks ago when we were solving equations, we want to get y simply by itself because that's the start of slope-intercept form. Okay? So if we're going to do that, we've got to remove the 2x to the other side. If it's positive, you guys know we'll end up subtracting. So that'll be minus the 2x, and we'll also do that on the other side. If you guys want to draw that out, you can, or you can even use your text box and type that in and just kind of space over to the other side. Okay? You know those will cancel. Okay? And you're left with y equals. Now we want this in slope-intercept form, so my slope is going to come first. My slope goes with the x value or that term. So that's going to be a negative 2x. Negative 2x. And then the 3, that's a positive 3, so that will be plus 3. So we took it out of standard form and converted it to slope-intercept form. All right, so looking at 2, guys, it's in standard form. We've got our 2 terms out front, our A and B terms. All we're going to do is simply convert this into y-intercept. Okay, so if you're going to use your text box, you guys can put it right here, align it just underneath. So that would be minus your 4x. And then we'll also show that on the other side. Okay? If you want to put your line, you're more than welcome to. Makes no difference, or really it should go there. Okay? All right, and then come below that, you know you will have 5y equals, we want my slope to come first, so that's going to be negative 4x. And then we have that negative 30. You can put plus a negative, or you can simply just put minus 30. It's all the same. Now, looking at this, y is not by itself. Okay, y is not by itself. So to get y by itself, you guys know we're going to end up having to divide by 5. Okay? Now, once you divide by 5, you know those 5s are going to cancel out, and it's really going to give you 1. So we end up with y equals. Now, when you divide 4 by 5, guys, can you divide that and get a whole number? No. So we're just going to leave that as negative 4 over 5x, because that 4, guys, that's going to be my vertical change. That 5 is going to be my horizontal change. Okay? So then we're still left with our y-intercept over there, which, can you divide 30 by 5 and get a whole number? Yeah. Okay? So then we'll just have that negative 30 divided by 5 is going to leave us with negative 6. So then in slope-intercept form, it ends up being y equals negative 4/5 x minus 6. All right, so looking here at 3, guys, again, we're just converting one from standard form into y-intercept. All right, so here we're trying to get the y by itself, so we're going to remove that x. So it's just going to be minus x on both sides, minus x, okay? I'm just going to tab down. So then you're going to have a negative 3y equals, remember, slope comes next, so that's going to be a negative x plus our y-intercept, which is 12. Okay? Now, as you're going to divide these, again, we've got to get y by itself, so you know that you're going to divide by that negative 3. Okay? So when you divide by that -3, those -3's will cancel. Okay, so we'll be left with y equals. Now, what is understood in front of that x, guys? A 1. Okay, you know that's just 1x. It just represents 1. It's a -1. So that's going to be a -1/3 x. Okay, so my vertical change is 1. My horizontal change is 3. That's my slope. But do not forget, we divided the x by 3. Now we've got to divide that 12 by 3. So 12 divided by -3, you guys should know, is going to be -4. All right, so we looked at slope-intercept form and standard form, two different forms of linear equations. Now we're going to get to the easy part, guys, which is simply graphing linear equations. Okay, you graph them if they're in slope-intercept form. That's just the easiest way, because one, all you have to do is look at the y-intercept and then look at the slope and use your vertical change over your horizontal change. Okay, so first thing, put the equation in y equals mx plus b form. If you're looking at number 1, it's already in slope-intercept form for us. Okay, then it says number 2, plot the y-intercept. So if you're looking at the first one, guys, you know the first value here, that's my slope. The second one's my y-intercept. So that's just where it crosses the y-axis, right? So if I'm going to plot that, I'm just going to go to +3, 1, 2, 3, and plot my point right there. Okay? Then it says use the slope to create more points. So for me, the first thing that I do is look if the slope is positive or negative. What type of slope is that? It's negative. It's got a negative beside it. So we know that starting at the farmost left point, it's going to be traveling down like that direction. So for me, that's what I look at. I want my next point to be somewhere over in this direction if it's a negative slope. Okay, so my slope's negative. Okay, you said earlier that it was understood that 1 was in front of that x, so that's simply just 1/1. So my vertical change is 1, and my horizontal change is 1. Vertical change is 1, horizontal change is 1. Okay, we'll only plot 3 points here, 3 coordinates. If you guys want to use your shape tools to connect them, you can. You're more than welcome to. And it should look something similar to that right there. Okay? All right, let's look at number 2. Again, the equations already in slope-intercept form. So now I'm going to plot my y-intercept. Okay? My y-intercept right here, as you see, is -4. So we're just simply going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. Okay, now, again, looking, my slope is positive, so we know it's going to be traveling from left to right in an upward direction, so I know my next point needs to be somewhere either in quadrant 1 or quadrant 4, traveling up. Okay, so here, guys, real quick, what is considered to be my vertical change here? We know it's going to be 3, but what's my horizontal change going to be? If 3 is a whole number and we make it look like a fraction, what's it going to be over? 1. Okay? So there, if we're going to plot these points, my vertical change is 3. So 1, 2, 3. And my horizontal change is 1. And then 1, 2, 3. And 1. And then again, if you guys want to use your line tool, more than welcome to connect them just like so. Okay. All right, looking here at 9, guys, don't get confused. Okay, if you're looking over here, there's nothing from my y-intercept. If there's nothing over there, what value is that going to be? What value represents nothing? 0. Okay, so I'm simply just going to plot it right there on the origin. And then again, we just look at my slope-intercept, or not my slope-intercept, my slope. It's positive, so it's traveling here. We know that's going to be 4/1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. I'm going to plot 1 on the back side, keep it a positive slope. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And then you guys can use your shape tool and connect them like So